Konnichiwa, I'm John Hornick. Welcome to my Japanese Faves series where we'll cover every major type of Japanese food. This lesson is Donabe 4 slow roasted chicken with root vegetables. This hearty dish is great for a cold winter night, then again for lunch the next day, or maybe the next night as tasty leftovers. This is my Japanesified version of a Romertopf recipe in Food and Wine. A Romertopf is a clay pot from Germany. At least I think it's from Germany. My version uses a Donabe, modifies the ingredients, eliminates the need to carve the chicken at the end, and gives you a choice of cooking times and results. If you don't have a Donabe, you can use a Dutch oven. I've done it both ways, and both ways come out great. You can also use the larger or the smaller quantity of the vegetables in the ingredients section, depending on what size Donabe or Dutch oven you have, or how many people you're serving. I also give you a choice of cooking times. The shorter time yields a very tasty dish with chicken pieces that are cooked but firm. The longer time makes an extraordinary dish with fall-apart tender chicken and deeply flavored vegetables. So let's start cooking. Okay, first thing we're going to do is set the oven to 350 degrees. All right, now I've already broken down the chicken. I have a separate lesson on how to break down a chicken. And I've kept the wings. I'm going to use those for some other purpose. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the drumsticks and the thighs into the bowl that we're going to use to mix everything up. And then what I want to do is I want to cut these breasts into 3 pieces each. Now, the way I like to do this, and the reason I like to do it this way, is that it helps to keep the skin on the chicken. Okay, I don't want to take the skin off. I'm going to slice each breast into 3 pieces. And it looks like the breastbone is in this one. So those sliced in half nicely, leaving the skin on. Now the last one here, that still has a bone in it, right? So we're going to slice here, and then we hit the bone. And what I want to do at that point is I want to take my my poultry shears and just cut across the bone. And that helps to keep the skin on the chicken, all right? Then we're just going to put all of those pieces into the bowl that we're going to use to mix everything up. Okay, now here we have the chicken in a big bowl. What we're going to do is put in most of the other ingredients and toss them in olive oil, salt, and pepper. And we're going to toss everything except the stock and the thyme. So what that means is we're going to put in the chicken. We have that there already. We're going to add the onions. And I'm using a large Donabe, so I'm using the larger quantities of ingredients that are in the description. We're also going to add the carrots and the sweet potatoes. You could also use butternut squash if you don't have sweet potatoes handy, or if you have some butternut squash that you need to use up. We're also going to add the potatoes. Now I've had those soaking in water because they started to turn right after I cut them up into pieces. So I've been soaking them in water so that they don't turn color. Not that it matters that much really, because they're all going to take on color when they're being cooked. We also want to add the shallots and the garlic. Now we want to add the mushrooms. These are optional. I'm going to use the mushrooms. I have some beautiful Namiko mushrooms here. I'm just going to break those up a little bit because they're all basically in one clump. So we'll break those up a bit and put them into the bowl here. And so let's see. We have the chicken, we have the onions, the carrots, the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the mushrooms, the shallots, the garlic. And now, I've got a few more mushrooms here. Okay. Then I want to add the rosemary. Make sure you chop your rosemary very finely, because otherwise you get these pieces of rosemary when you're trying to eat, right? And that can be kind of unpleasant. Then we want to add the red miso, about a tablespoon, and it looks like I've got about a tablespoon left in this container here. Got a little more than a tablespoon there, which is fine. And try to get it all out of here. I don't like the waste. There we go. Now, then I want to add, I need another tablespoon. I didn't want to get the miso into the shio-koji, so now we'll put in about a tablespoon of shio-koji. It doesn't matter if you mix shio-koji with shoyu-koji, so now we're going to put in about a tablespoon of the shoyu-koji, okay? And I have a separate lesson on making shio-koji, shoyu-koji, and amazake. Then we're going to add some salt. We're going to err on the side of undersalting because it's always, you can always add salt later. Also, shio-koji and shoyu-koji are salt substitutes. So we've already added some, oh, and so was miso. So we've already added some salt that way. So just did light salt. And then some freshly ground black pepper. And then some olive oil. How much olive oil? Enough. Okay? Enough so that you can get everything coated. All right? Then we're going to toss those until everything is well mixed. Okay, now we're going to brown the chicken. And now I am using a Donabe, so I'm going to use a skillet to brown the chicken. I put some olive oil in there, probably about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Remember, chicken has a lot of fat in the skin, so you don't need to use a whole lot of fat in the pan. And I'm going to put the heat on medium. I'm going to let that oil get hot, then I'm going to brown these pieces of chicken in batches. Now, if you were using a Dutch oven instead of a Donabe, you could brown the chicken right in the Dutch oven, and you wouldn't have to do this pan and then transfer it over to the Dutch oven. My Donabe, you're not supposed to heat it unless it has liquid in it. So I'm not going to brown the chicken in the Donabe. I'm going to brown them in a separate pan. So let this oil get hot. How do you know when it's hot? Just starting to get whiffs of smoke, or it's starting to shimmer. Okay. Okay, our oil is hot. Another way you can tell the oil is hot is that it will start to retreat from the center of the pan, and you'll see kind of streakiness in it. Now, I'm going to put these pieces of chicken in a few at a time so I can brown them, starting with skin side down. And you know, you might have you saw in the previous part of the video that I tossed all of these together in one big bowl. Now, what I did is I pulled the chicken pieces out. There were 10 pieces because we cut each breast into 3 pieces, and then we had 2 legs and 2 thighs. Now you could toss the chicken in a separate bowl so you don't have to go pull them out of the big bowl, but I just do it this way. I think it's easier and saves me from having to wash another bowl. So we're just going to brown these as much as we can, both sides. So I had a question. Why is it that you don't want to get the shoyu-koji into the shio-koji? Someone who's standing by watching asked me that question. Well, the reason is simply because the shio-koji is pure white and the shoyu-koji is dark brown. If you put your spoon that's been into the shio-koji, in the shoyu-koji first, and then you put it into the shio-koji, you're going to get that brown mixed in with the pure white shio-koji. That's not going to look good, right? So either use a clean spoon after you've used the shoyu-koji, or use your spoon in the shio-koji first. Okay, these are looking nicely browned. So we're going to take them out of the pan, hold them aside. You can keep them warm if you want. You don't have to because you're going to be putting them into the Donabe and cooking them further. So we're going to add some more pieces to the pan here and brown these. Notice how I swirl them around in the oil a little bit. Make sure they're coated. Make sure they're in a coated part of the pan so you don't get burning. And what you get instead is browning. All right? Start with skin side down. Okay, while the rest of those chicken pieces are browning, we're going to put our vegetables into the Donabe. And we're also going to put the stock. Now, the description calls for about a cup of, let's see, it's about a cup of chicken stock or about a cup of beef stock. I've used a half a cup of beef stock and a half a cup of chicken stock. Just gives more flavor, okay? And I just kind of put that around over the top of it. I'm going to kind of tuck this thyme down inside. I've got thyme that's been tied in string. I'll tuck that down inside the liquid, okay? Okay, now let's take our browned chicken pieces and arrange them in the donabe on top of the vegetables. And, you know, just arrange them in a way that they kind of fit and that they look good. You're doing the skin side up. Now, why are we doing this? This is more for presentation, okay? Because it's going to come out of the oven the same way that it went into the oven, okay? So we're just going to put all of these pieces into the donabe, okay? And I have room for just all the pieces, okay? Then we're going to put the lid on the donabe and put it in the oven at 425 degrees. Now, there's two cooking options. One is the shorter cooking option. And you could be doing this with a Dutch oven, by the way. You'd do exactly the same thing. The shorter cooking option is to put it into the oven for 45 minutes, then uncover it and roast it for 15 minutes more. This is going to give you cooked but firm chicken. The other option, which I'm doing today, is the longer cooking time. We're going to roast it covered for 3 to 3.5 hours, and this is going to yield fall apart tender chicken. So this is going to now go into the oven. Okay, let's check out our donabe dish. It's been in the oven for 3 hours. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Now I have it here on a portable butane burner, and this is how I'm going to serve it to the guests. And this is basically how it would be served in Japan. Either you would serve everyone out of this into their own bowls, or they can scoop it out themselves into their own bowls and take what they want. Some of the chicken, some of the goodies underneath. So that's the conclusion of Japanese Faves Donabe 4 slow roasted chicken and root vegetables. You can see photos of the final dish at my Instagram, which is @ChefsApprentice, cook like a pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.